Cobden's driving in the closing stages, kept up to her work, but she's landed this valuable prize.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Sunday morning. I'm Seth Merrow. Thanks for joining us. Thanks also to our friends at Gulfstream for their sponsorship. Gulfstream Park champions start here. I'm working on the with the James Earl Jones voice as a bonus from my travel nightmare Thursday into Friday. Yeah, I've come down with the airplane, whatever I have here, with the deep. Maybe I should do the James Earl Jones OTB commercial. This is OTB. Maybe we'll have to think about recording that later while I'm working on the voice. Maybe it's better. Who knows? Maybe the voice is better this way. But just so you're alerted, I may have to rehydrate. So if you see me pull up a bottle of water during the show, I'm just trying to save the voice as we go along over the next hour. Do want to alert you that we'll do some stakes recaps. We'll do a little handicapping towards the end of the program. We'll reach out to Andrew Dembski, Tampa Bay Downs. I believe this is their first Sunday of the meet, and they're going to go to the schedule that plugs the Sundays in as the meet goes along from here. But we'll get some ideas on Tampa Bay racing for this Sunday afternoon from Andrew Dembski, who you see in the paddock every day down at Tampa. He'll be on towards the end of the show. Do want to alert you with the holiday coming up tomorrow and Tuesday, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, branch hours. Tomorrow, the branches are normal hours. However, the clubhouse and cleats both close at 7:30 tomorrow, Monday, New Year's Eve. And on Tuesday, New Year's Day, branches are open normal hours. But the branches that are normally closed will be open on Tuesday because a lot of the tracks that normally wouldn't be running will be running on New Year's Day. Tuesday, clubhouse closes at 9, cleats closes at 7:30. So a couple of updates there on some hours over the next couple of days. Also want to alert you in this opening week of January 2019 coming up on Wednesday, a $200 Pick 4 online contest. Thursday, there's a $100 win-a-bet here at the clubhouse and a $100 win-a-bet online. That's Thursday. Friday, the bounty bet returns. That should be a lot of fun because we had the mandatory payout a couple of weeks ago. So we reload the bounty coming up on Friday, and Saturday, a $100 knockout challenge here at the Clubhouse Racebook. So plenty of action promotion-wise coming up here at Capital OTB as we wind into the new year. So you can always catch up with the promos and events via capitalotb.com. Also want to alert you, and I'll do it by way of talking about last night at Charlestown, because I alerted you yesterday that a $252,000 carryover going into last night's card at Charlestown on their pick 6, but it was their last race day of 2018, so there's a mandatory payout. Similar situations coming up, however. I'll give you a heads up on that in a second. But as far as Charlestown last night, we talked about it. We said maybe jump in, given the pool, and expected it to balloon up, and certainly got over $1 million. It did balloon up. Tough sequence, though, in that pick 6 at Charlestown last night. 4 of them very havable. $4.60, $3.20, $4.20, $7.80. But then you had a $60 winner and a $20 winner. Coming up with one of those might have been an all button in a race, something like that. But coming up with a couple of those, a little bit tougher. over $14,000 paid out per winning ticket in that pick six last night at Charlestown, with again that nice carryover and a mandatory payout. But again, I want to alert you, coming up end of the year means racetracks, and check the tracks you're interested in. But I'll give you a heads up. I know Laurel. Just saw a graphic on the screen for Laurel. They will be having mandatory payouts tomorrow. They'll be racing tomorrow, Monday. So Laurel with mandatory payouts in those various bets that offer them, the Rainbow, the Late Pick 5, the Super High 5. Tomorrow at Laurel, mandatories. And I just looked it up online because I was pretty sure, but I wasn't positive. But yes, at Aqueduct as well, mandatory pays tomorrow. Again, I'm talking tomorrow, Monday, last day of the year. The early pick 5, the late pick 5, and the pick 6 mandatories tomorrow at Aqueduct as well. So just keep that in mind, because again, if you're playing those bets and things get a little wacky and you wind up with 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6 in the various bets, it's a mandatory pay. So you'll be in with a shot at some decent money tomorrow, end of the year. And as I say, the tracks you watch, it varies from jurisdiction, but a lot of the racing venues do that. Last day of the year, mandatory payouts, so check some of the other venues as well if you are a regular betting on some of those. All right. And if they aren't racing tomorrow, I should note today would be that day. So again, check. If you go to the track website of the track you like to play, I would imagine they would have the information as far as mandatories, if that is their policy to pay on the last day of the year. All right, let's do a little stakes recap from yesterday. We have some Aqueduct, some Laurel, some Gulfstream, and the American Oaks out at Santa Anita. First up, let's take a look at the Eastview yesterday at Aqueduct. I liked Forever Changed. I thought the Charlie Baker horse, coming off of a career best effort, was in a good spot. Forever Changed is the 2 horse. Winds up 4th at 6-1 as the second choice, and a close-up second choice. I mean, the same amount of money. Sassy Agnes, the number 6, wound up to be the 2-1 favorite, but at the same money, Espresso Shot. I talked about this before the race on OTB Live. I just was not enamored with this horse. But obviously the betting public thought a little more highly, and they were correct, as Espresso Shot does get it done. Gets it done pretty easily, as you see there. Shelly Ann runs second at 16-1. Elegant Zip runs third at 9-1. And again, Sassy Agnes, the 2-1 favorite, disappointing 8th in the field of 10. My Forever Changed, again, ran 4th, but the winner was the clear winner, let's put it that way. Espresso Shot going out for George Abreu, and ran a good second with a lifetime best buyer figure in the previous race, which was a dirt stakes race. Had run on the dirt 3 starts back and was a winner. So you look at the record for Espresso Shot, maybe I should have been a little more enamored. And I talked about this yesterday and said maybe I was making a mistake, because the 2 dirt races were very good. But the signal was probably the workout on December 23rd, a bullet 59 and change, best of 34. That may have been the indication, and that all systems were go. And Espresso Shot gets it done yesterday in the Eastview at Aqueduct. And again, for 2-year-olds, that means these will be horses to watch going forward. In certainly New York bred 3-year-old stakes, if not open stakes as well going forward. All right, let's also take a look at the Alex Robb from yesterday. This one I was a little more online. I had a 2, 6, and 3, and it comes out 2, 3, and 6. I thought Mr. Buff was coming into this race in very good form. He's the 2 horse for Chester and Mary Broman and John Kimmel. Game plan was going to be to go out to the front and try to hold them off, and that's exactly what happened. Twisted Tom, the horse that had shown some nice promise in the 3-year-old season, winds up running second and really makes a couple of moves in the stretch that you think and he's going to go by. And you thought right here he was probably going to go by late. But boy, Mr. Buff, very gutsy there to hold off Twisted Tom. Control Group ran 3rd for Rudy Rodriguez as the 8-5 favorite. Got a nice little price on Mr. Buff, 5-2, so you got $7.40 there. Again, on a horse that I thought was in some decent form coming into the race and proved to be that way. And as they say, it was a nice gutsy performance. Mr. Buff, 4 years old, so that means a couple of days from now turns 5, already close to $500,000 in the bank, and he'll be one to watch going forward in some of these New York bred stakes you would have to think over the winter time down at Aqueduct and beyond, as it were. Nice stakes scheduled down at Laurel yesterday. We talked to Dave Rodman about a few of these. And when I talked to Dave, I said the Heft was a race that I thought was interesting last year. The winner, anyway, coming out of the Heft, Diamond King was the winner last year. Went on to win the Tessio, second in the Smarty Jones, third in the Oklahoma Derby. So again, with 2-year-olds in the Heft yesterday, the potential is there to watch some of these going forward. And I thought Win 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 was interesting. Dave Rodman agreed with me. A Live Oak Plantation, Mike Trombetta. That one was 2 for 2 in the career. Second career start was very good. Win 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 is going to be the number 2 horse here and winds up the even money favorite. But Always Mining, the number 1, gets the job done. Daniel Centino in town, up from Tampa to get the ride on Always Mining, who was coming out of a win in the Maryland Juvenile Futurity last time. This is a horse that just looks to have turned the corner in the last couple of races. Came into this with 8 career starts, 3 wins, 2 of those in the last 2 starts. So now a 3-race win streak, including a couple of stakes races. Always Mining may just have been one of those that really got the head screwed on after getting some education and moving forward. So now it's strung, as I say, a couple of nice stakes wins together. And I'm not sure I'm as impressed with this one as I was with Diamond King last year, but going by that history, Always Mining maybe one to watch going forward as a 3-year-old. In some of the minor stakes at least. We'll see. As I say, it seems to have turned the corner, so maybe it's better than that. Win, win, win. That was only the 3rd career start, stakes debut, so I'm not going to take anything against Win, 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 who was clearly second best in there. Probably worth taking a look at going forward as well on the 3-year-old scene. All right, also yesterday at Laurel, we'll take a look at the Gin Talking. This one, 2-year-olds as well, but 2-year-old fillies. So again, more horses to watch as the calendar turns from January 1st, and these horses become 3-year-olds. Talking with Dave Rodman yesterday, I said I wasn't quite sure what to do with the Pennsylvania Invaders, but boy, Please Flatter Me looked pretty good coming in off a couple of wins at Penn National, including a stakes race. Please Flatter Me is the number 9 horse, goes off as the 8-5 favorite. And as you can see here in those turquoise or aqua silks, wins off by a chart margin of just under 6 lengths. 18-1, Ujaya runs second, the number 10, and Our Super Freak runs third. Chart margin of 5 3/4, though, so just under 6 lengths for Please Flatter Me. Now 3 for 3, couple of stakes races under the belt. This is a Pennsylvania bred. I'm going to be interested to see what they do going forward because, again, the first 2 starts over Penn National, won a Pennsylvania bred stakes prior to what we saw there. Now steps into open company and wins at Laurel. This is a nice-looking 2-year-old filly, about to become a 3-year-old filly. Matacat Stables, one of the owners. You would expect this horse probably has bigger and better things on the radar, given the connections and whatnot. So again, on the 2-year-old filly scene, Please Flatter Me, looking pretty good yesterday at Laurel. Also wanted to show one more from Laurel. 38 Go-Go Stakes because, again, we talked with Dave Rodman yesterday. Nice full field scheduled for this one. We did have some scratches subsequently, but 10 horses got in the gate, and it winds up to be number 1 Isotope getting it done for trainer Jeremiah Engelhardt. And I wanted to show this one because Dave Rodman had talked about this as a kind of a live long shot, and that is Isotope with the Aqua Silks coming up the rail. They did take a look at this afterwards because Isotope kind of comes out a little bit. But when you looked at the head on it, was the horse in second that really was kind of going out or overreacting maybe. But they looked at it, the stewards did, didn't change the order of finish, which I agreed with. I looked, as I say, at the head-on, and it looked like maybe an overreaction by the jockey or the horse that was just outside of Isotope. Isotope gets it done. As I say, Rodman kind of tabbed this horse as a potential long shot to watch. 10-1 on the morning line. Went off at 6-1, but still you wound up with $14 there with a nice call by Dave Rodman in the 38 Go-Go down at Laurel yesterday. Also wanted to take a look at a couple of the stakes from Gulfstream Park. They had a nice stakes day yesterday as well, but I did want to take a look at a couple of those because they will play into the 3-year-old scene as well. Tropical Park Oaks and the Tropical Park, they played into the 3-year-old scene. Let's put it that way as we wrap it up. The last chance for the 3-year-olds to face one another on the stakes scene. Tropical Park Oaks and Tropical Park Derby. The Oaks, I like the number 13, Angel of Mischief. But as I said, handicapping this on OTB Live yesterday, I like the 13 and the 12, and I was a little bit dicey being stuck outside. My 13, Angel of Mischief, winds up 9th in the field of 13 at 10-1. The winner is going to be number 10, however, Too Charming. So also had to negotiate from an outside post position, but under Paco Lopez, went out to the front, as is the way she likes to run. And this runner for Tommy Albatrani and Godolphin went out and led them all the way around. Number 7, Adina Del Sur, who I had in my mix, made a nice late run for second. And Semper Sentia, who I had, again, right underneath from the 12 post position. Decent little third in there. So as I say, I was a little bit dicey on the outside post position. Turns out to be one of the outside post positions. However, with the 10 horse getting it done on the front end at a nice 10-1 price, Too Charming, again, wrapping up the 3-year-old season, as this was the last opportunity those horses will have to go against age-restricted company. Similar situation a little bit later on the card in the Tropical Park Oaks, or in the Tropical Park Derby with the boys. The Oaks, obviously, was the girls. The Derby for the boys down at Gulfstream yesterday in the Tropical Park Derby. The favorite was Breaking the Rules. Shug McGahee, trainee, started the career for Shug and the Phipps on the dirt. Last couple of starts had been on the turf. The buyer number improved nicely with the move to the turf. The end of the Saratoga meet and in October at Belmont. That led the betting public to make Breaking the Rules the 4-5 favorite. Breaking the Rules is going to be the number 4 horse here. Irod Ortiz on board. Sniper Kin, 16-1 in the second spot. And Therapist, the number 11, a familiar name for New York bettors, runs third. But again, chart margin here, 3.5 for Breaking the Rules. This will be a nice turf runner next year for Shug and the Phipps, you would have to think. Took them a while to kind of figure out this Son of Warfront belonged on the turf, but now that they have a couple of wins and a third-place finish, including a stakes race now. So clearly, as I say, this is a horse that has a little bit of a future on the grass for Shug and the Phipps. So we'll keep our eyes on that one next year as well. Breaking the Rules, getting it done. Again, a short price, 4-5, pays $3.80 in the field of 14 there in the Tropical Park Derby. Going out to Santa Anita, talked yesterday with John White about this race and also talked about some of the grade ones on opening day out at Santa Anita last Wednesday, the Malibu and the La Brea. But the American Oaks yesterday at Santa Anita, the last grade one on the American racing calendar for 2018. And as we talked, Princess Warrior was interesting to me. Went off at 10-1 as the number 5 horse, runs 6th in the field of 8. So I thought at a little bit of a price, Princess Warrior coming in from the win at Churchill for Kenny McPeak would be interesting. But we also talked about Competition of Ideas, the number 8 horse. You can see a nice late run here coming for the Chad Brown Klarovich runner under Joel Rosario. And really, as I say, nice late run. Blows by the second and third place finishers. KP Pergalicious, 90-1, runs second. Amandine, a horse we talked about yesterday, runs third at 4-1. But Competition of Ideas, Chad Brown, Klarovich, and Joel Rosario, who's going to be based in Southern California this winter. They get it done. $12.20. Nice price there on, again, a Chad Brown-Klarovich runner that they thought enough of to ship across country to take a shot at this Grade 1 event off a third-place finish last time in the Winter Memories. But that was an off-the-turf event. Getting back to the turf, Competition of Ideas was sure to look a little more like a Chad Brown-Klarovich runner, and that's exactly as it worked out. And as I say, at 12-1, you got a nice price there as well. So again, nice stakes action around the country. Some of the other stakes as well. Red Knight wins the Allen Jerkins at 2 miles under Luis Saez at a $13 price. The Villa Borghese at CKS Buena getting it done, again, at $13 down at Gulfstream. The Politely Elevated won that one. I point that out because I thought Crab Cakes would be a free square down at Laurel. Crab Cakes in the Politely yesterday at Laurel, 3-5, and winds up 8th in the field of 9. A little bit of a disappointment there. And Elevated Vision, actually, was the winner in the Politely, $78.40. So a little bit of an upset there. Cordmaker won the Jennings yesterday. John Jones, the previous winner, ran 3rd in there. Colonel Sharp wins the Dave's Friend down at Laurel. The Ambidentia at Gulfstream, it was Girls Know Best. The Janus, it was Vision Perfect. And the undercard stake out at Sanity, the Bobby Frankel, Fahan Mura, the 8-5 favorite, was the winner out there. All right, that takes you through some of the stakes action yesterday. We'll take a break, jump back into the action, give you some ideas for this afternoon, some handicapping ideas. A little bit later on, we'll be joined by Andrew Dembski from Tampa Bay Downs. They kick off their Sunday schedule starting today, so we'll get a couple of thoughts for this afternoon's racing. All of that right after this. Stay tuned.
Visit Rivers Casino and Resort, the Capital Region's only destination for live table game action and the hottest new slots paying out millions. And they're off. Horse betting is now at Rivers Casino and Resort with Capital off-track betting terminals and live tellers located just off the gaming floor at Van Slyck's. Get in on all the action at Rivers Casino and Resort.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices, to know how to connect the dots? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool, but not the only tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. These too are important tools, and you'll find them all right here at Capital OTB. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
Come on!
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Sunday morning. I'm Seth Merrill. Again, apologies for the voice, but I'm fighting off a little something. Picked it up on the flight, I'm assuming on the flight. That always seems to be a germ magnet when you're on those planes, the holiday flight home. But we proceed through with some thoughts for this afternoon. I have a few thoughts for both Aqueduct and Gulfstream for this Sunday afternoon. The opener at Aqueduct, a little bit interesting to me. It's a state-bred maiden special event, 5.5 furlongs. I have it 7, 5, 6, and 2. And at 7-2, Beckett Takes Charge is, as I say, a little bit interesting. They paid $150,000 for this horse at the May sale, Facing Tipton sale. That's a pretty good price, excuse me, for a New York bred. Will Take Charge is the sire. Will Take Charge, again, my stats are probably 2 or 3 weeks old, but Will Take Charge in 2018, 36 first-time starters, 2 winners, 3 seconds, 4 thirds. So 9 in the money out of 36. I thought those were pretty good numbers. Linda Rice does well first time out of the box. The workouts look pretty good. Underneath, I use Stones in the Road by Bustin' Stones, first time out for Jeremiah Engelhardt. And this one with some bullet works that say might wind up to be the one to beat. 3-1 on the morning line. This is a race, though, where I think you have to take a look as we get closer to post time at the odds. Abraxan is the 2-1 morning line favorite. I understand that. Gary Siaka trainee has shown some flashes of talent, comparatively speaking, at this level in the first 3 starts of the career. And so this horse will take some action. But I'm wondering about Stones in the Road. You know, Jeremiah, like Linda Rice, pretty good first time out. There's a little bit of breeding there, but as I say, those workouts underneath indicate this horse may be primed in the career debut. So will we get that 3-1? That's the question mark. I have another first-time starter in the 3rd spot, Countable by Into Mischief from Linda Rice. Into Mischief, one of those runners I really like as producing win early type runners. So I think there's a little breeding, a little nature and nurture as far as sire and trainers who can get it done with the top 3 of mine. But I realize that Abraxan does have some experience, and experience counts. I'm just taking a little bit of a shot against there. And as I say, before deciding what to do as far as playing this race or using some of these maybe in the horizontals, it'd be worth taking a look at the odds and seeing how things do shake out, and if maybe some of those firsters do take a little more money than the morning line would indicate. But I'm going to go 7, 5, 6, and 2 in the opener at Aqueduct, and we will see how that plays out. We'll be in a couple hours to an hour and a half or so with OTB Live as we jump in. We'll be talking some Aqueduct there as well. 3rd at Aqueduct, more state-bred maiden specials in race 3 at Aqueduct. I have a 3, 7, 6, and 5. The number 3 is Woodbury, just kind of logical here. It's a Rudy runner from E5 Racing that improved nicely in career start number 4, in that the buyer figure hit a lifetime best. It was a near-miss second, led most of the way, and just got caught, but the top 2 were clearly in front of the 3rd place finisher. So Woodbury's kind of logical in here. Pier 40 goes out for our friends at West Point Thoroughbreds, 5-2 as compared to Woodbury's 2-1. I wouldn't be surprised to see these 2 flip-flop and when the betting public gets done, because I thought the 72 buyer for Pier 40 was maybe a little more intriguing. But, I mean, that said, I've put a Woodbury on top as well. I just thought off a little bit of a layoff, late summer, early fall, Woodbury might benefit from that race last time with some upside potential, but you can't ignore that 72 buyer figure fired last time for Pier 40. So, and I'll also add, I talked about it a little bit yesterday. It seems like West Point the past, 3 weeks as I've been in here for OTB Live in the afternoon, seems like you see the West Point Silks, that yellow and with the black star. You've been seeing those at various venues around the country getting into the winner's circle. So it seems like they're on a little bit of a streak as West Point. Had a winner yesterday at Santa Anita. So we'll see. Pier 40 underneath for me, though. But the horse that is maybe interesting at 6-1, 7 is Heaven by Posse from Linda Rice. Paid $100,000 for this New York bred at Ocala April this year. Posse so far in 2018, again, my stats are a couple of weeks out of date, but 26 first-time starters, winner, 4 seconds, 4 thirds. So 9 in the money finishes for 26 starters. Posse pretty good first time out. 7 is Heaven then. A little bit intriguing to me in the career debut from Linda Rice in race number 3. We'll see how that works out. But as I say, the 2 horses with experience and experience counts, they absolutely look logical. But a little bit of a price, 7 is Heaven, if you wanted to play around. And those horizontals, that early pick 5 or whatever, might help juice those up if you wanted to take that kind of a shot. All right, let's go out and take a look at the feature on Sunday afternoon. That is the Bay Ridge State-Bred Fillies and Mares going 1 1/8 miles. While we talk here, we're going to take a look at the Empire Distaff back on October 20th. The winner there will be number 12, Bonita Bianca. I like her again this afternoon. It's Mike Dubb. It's Jason Service. Subsequent to this race, she wound up running fourth, and a well-beaten fourth, in the Gopher Wand. That was an open Grade 3 event. I think off of this race against the New York Breds, getting back in against the New York Breds on Sunday afternoon, Bonita Bianca maybe back into the comfort zone. So I'll put her on top. Split time in the second spot. Similar to the scenario on Bonita Bianca, stepped into open graded company last time, maybe a little bit overmatched. 2 back, was right behind Bonita Bianca in that Empire Distaff that we just saw. And Frosty Annie tossed in a clunker, actually, in the Empire Distaff, but subsequently a third in the New York Stallion, and then a second last time and a little starter allowance. I think she is in some good form. Blinkers go on today for Rudy. Could be a player, but Bonita Bianca, as I say, getting back in against the State-Breds off of that race that we saw 2 back against State-Breds is the one that intrigues me in that 7th race at Aqueduct, the Bay Ridge. I have it 8, 5, 2, and 7. All right, give you some ideas also at Gulfstream. And again, Gulfstream will be on our docket this afternoon on OTB Live as well. Gulfstream's 4th race is a maiden special weight event. 6 furlongs is the trip. I have a 3, 1, 6, and 7 down at Gulfstream in the 4th. Admiral Lynch on top. It's George Navarro, 3rd time out of the box, a bullet workout coming into this by Super Saver. And again, the nice improvement start 1 to start 2, adding in the bullet workout, 5-2 on the morning line. Given the scenario of the talent and coming out of the George Navarro barn, I'm not going to be shocked if this horse comes down some ticks. But you toss in Sea Shark, 2nd time starter for Todd Pletcher from the owner Mike Rapoli. They paid $310,000 for this horse. Tossed in a clunker in the career debut, but did show a little life early. I like that at least. And that to me says maybe the horse is going to come out with some education and move forward. It is 6-1 on the morning line, but as I say, I'm not going to be surprised if this horse shows some improvement off of that career debut. And then Golden Idol and Greater Cairo. I probably could have gone either way with those two, and it won't shock me if one or the other or both kind of jump up and improve off the career debuts and improve enough to win this. But they both looked decent in their debut efforts, similar buyer numbers, buyers that stack up well with this particular group. And again, that they came out first time out and ran well. If they get a little education from that and move forward, could be even more interesting. And Golden Idol is one of those that automatically attracts my attention because this one is by Golden Sense, a sire that if you watch enough, you know that I like quite a bit as a sire of precocious runners. I may have been tempted to even move Golden Idol up a little bit, but we have 3-1 on the morning line. I like the Golden Sense. I like that 10-1 this one was getting in the career debut where it ran second, the 3-1 and the thought that maybe there might be a little more action. But I will say, if Golden Idol starts to float up from the 3-1, it could be even a little more interesting. In the 4th at Gulfstream, then, a maiden special weight event, I have a 3, 1, 6, and 7. Race number 7 at Gulfstream this afternoon, a $16,000 claimer. And I tossed this one in because, A, it may be a free square for you with the top pick, give to UK Cats, and B, I pulled up scratches before we went on the air, and there weren't any at that point. But I always like to alert people to a potential also eligible that may be worth watching, because if you handicap the night before, sometimes there are scratches. You don't go back and take a look. Billy Big, I think, could be interesting at an 8-1 morning line price. But I have this 7th at Gulfstream, 9, 4, 8, and 13. The number 9, as I say, give to UK Cats. Just looks to have a numbers edge on this bunch. I think class-wise fits in very snugly, gets some class relief. But with those numbers fired recently, they just look to have an edge on this group. So even money on the morning line. Again, I'm being master of the obvious here, but that's always useful if you are playing around with some of those horizontals and you're looking for the potential free square. Give to UK Cats, could be that. Snuggly Bear certainly has the ability to be in the mix here. There's some back numbers and the most recent number, and I like the fact that recently was over at Tampa, but now has moved over for Luch Racing to Gulfstream Park. I like the confidence there. We're getting 12-1. Third slot, we'll take a look at number 8, Piloting, who 2 wins in the last 4 starts. They bookend a second and a third place finish. I will say the 2 wins were on the dirt in off-the-turf events, but the 2 turf races, number-wise, were okay and fit with this bunch. And as I say, just a reminder, don't sleep on Billy Big, the number 13 horse. If there is a scratch in the 7th at Gulfstream and that one sneaks into the field, I think worth paying attention to. So just, as I say, I like to kind of red flag, red flare a horse like that on the AE list. That first horse on the AE list, so may very well get in. And if that morning line holds up, Billy Big may offer some value in some fashion in race 7 at Gulfstream, 9, 4, 8, and 13. Race number 8 at Gulfstream, again, a couple of AEs here as well that may be worth paying attention to. I have it 3, 2, 15, 16. If they don't get in the 4 and the 9 then, but that's the 8th at Gulfstream, the number 3, Irish Intuition. A couple of good starts most recently. The last was an off-the-turfer, but 2 back on the turf for Ken McPeak at Churchill. Good try. Silver Kitten goes out for Danny Gargan. Tossed in a clunker in the debut. That one's 15-1. Again, the number 2 horse in race 8 at Gulfstream, 15-1. I will not be shocked with this breeding and 1 under the belt, adding the blinkers today, if Silver Kitten improves this afternoon at Gulfstream. And Cambier Park and Cap de Crew, the 15 and the 16. Again, they're a couple deep on the AE list, but if they should make it in, Chad Brown, Todd Pletcher, 6-1, 9-2. If the 15 or the 16 or both make it in, just take an extra look there. So the 8th at Gulfstream, 3-2, 15, 16. If the 2 A's don't make it in, take a look at the 4 and the 9. All right, that'll bring us to our next break. As promised earlier, when we come back, we will be joined by Andrew Dembski, paddock commentator from Tampa Bay Downs, as they kick off their Sunday schedule for the remainder of the meet. We'll get some ideas on this Sunday afternoon from Andrew right after this. Please stay tuned.
Dirty windows? Don't do it yourself. Call Clean Image, your window cleaning professionals, and enhance the look of your business or home without the worry. Clean Image pledges nothing less than 100% customer satisfaction. It's guaranteed. Homes, offices, bed and breakfast, vacation homes, and more. Clean Image has cleaned them all. Carpet and floor cleaning, pressure washing, and janitorial services are also available. Call today, 446-1397. That's 446-1397. Online at clean-image.net.
But Game On Dude is just battling them all off. Game On Dude has the lead. Here's Drosselmeyer out of the clouds. Drosselmeyer from nowhere. And Drosselmeyer and Mike Smith have beaten Chantel Sutherland on Game On Dude.
Not at the track and not near a computer? No problem. Wager with Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System and you'll never get shut out again. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System is quick, simple to use, and guarantees your wagers are accurate and placed on time. For more information, visit CapitalOTB.com or call Capital OTB's customer service hotline at 800-292-BETS. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System. Never get shut out again.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of branch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and easy bet locations can be found online at CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Sunday morning. As promised before the break, joined now by Andrew Dembski. You see him every Tampa Bay racing afternoon in the paddock. Andrew, good morning.
Good morning, Seth. Glad to be back on your show.
Happy to have you back on. We tried to get you a couple of weeks ago, and you were in a road race. How'd that work out?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of those obstacle course races, just digging myself through mud and throwing myself over, giant cargo nets and whatnot. And they're a good time, so I can't complain too much.
Yeah, very good. Are you a track and field guy like in high school?
No, honestly, I got a little bit into fitness a couple of years ago, and they really are good fitness tests, so I've been having a good time with them.
Yeah, nice. I mentioned at the top of the show, and I think I'm right, is this the first Sunday of the meet, and the game plan is to continue Sundays throughout the remainder of the meet, correct?
Yeah, it's actually our second Sunday,
Okay.
but we are 4 days a week from this point out, Seth. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, till the day after the Derby. So that's our schedule going forward.
Sounds good, because I know people like Tampa, and certainly up here in this neck of the woods, we get to live vicariously watching the Florida racing, so we're looking forward to the full weekends as the meet progresses. Let's talk a little bit again. We haven't had a chance to have you on. We're a little ways into the meet. I pulled up the stats on Equibase after yesterday's racing, and certainly on the trainer side of things, familiar names, Gerald Bennett clearly in the lead, Mike Stidham a nice second, Kathleen O'Connell, Owen Hardy sitting in the third and fourth places. Sammy Camacho, though, sitting on top jockey standings. I think he was second or third last year underneath some familiar names, Gallardo, Castanon, and Dan Santino. So as I say, kind of familiar names, jockeys and trainers so far in the meet.
Yeah, it's good to see Sammy Camacho, who you're right, he finished second in the jockey standings last year, and he's got a pretty commanding lead right now. Of course, it's so early in the season in the jockey standings, but he's getting a lot more business now, and because of his success, he's getting on a lot of live horses. So it'll be interesting to see if jockeys like Antonio Gallardo, who's been leading rider the last 2 years, or Danny Centeno, who has 5 or 6 riding titles here, if those guys can catch Sammy. And, we're happy for Sammy. He works hard, and he does a great job out there. So good to see him finding some success here in Tampa.
Also, why don't we get an update on the weather? And before we do that, just talk a little bit about the weather so far, because I have said it now for a month. Man, we cannot get a break in American racing here on the East Coast. Certainly since Saratoga ended up here in the Northeast, we have faced weather all fall long, but you had some weather to deal with recently in the past week and a half or so down at Tampa as well.
Yeah, December was rough on us. We had plenty of cold days, ridiculously high winds some days. We didn't get rain for a while, and then we got it all at once for about a week straight. So it's been rough, but today temperatures are predicted in the 80s, partly cloudy, so I cannot complain today. As
I say, we will live vicariously watching you guys. Also, before we get to this afternoon, I wanted to touch on a couple of weeks ago, because you had a nice stakes day down there, and boy, it was a nice performance by World of Trouble as well.
Yeah, it's cool to see a horse like him show up here, and I don't think I've ever seen a rider, not necessarily, I can't say Gallardo stood up on him at the 16th pole, but he was patting his neck. With the 16th to run, he kind of had it so in control that the horse never asked. And to do something like that and get such a big number, I think he got a 109 Beyer. Pretty tremendous performance. So it'll be pretty cool to see him where he goes from here. Who knows? He might just be one of the fastest. I'm not going to say in the world, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is.
Yeah, it was interesting as well. I was in doing the handicapping show that afternoon, watched the winner's circle. Mike Dubb in town for the win, a World of Trouble over at Tampa. That was nice to see as well.
Yeah, it was cool to have him stop by, and he's pretty high on the horse, and really just a cool guy. I got to talk to him for a couple of minutes, so pretty cool to see big connections come here. But we see it all the time, Seth. The guys, big barns come from South Florida. A lot of people just like being here in Tampa, such a small, intimate track. So just a nice place to visit for some of those big barns.
Yeah, and certainly there are familiar names all year long over there, not just in the stakes races, but some of the allowance, some of the maiden races as well. Familiar names to those of us certainly up here in the Saratoga area. All right, let's jump in, get some ideas for this afternoon. Again, Sunday racing at Tampa. Third race this afternoon, maiden special weight event. These are 2-year-olds going 1.40 miles. I looked at some of the Tampa races for this afternoon's handicapping show as well. I went with Michael Stidham's Hardaway on top. I thought just because Stidham, he's having a nice meet so far, but this one off the race last time at Tampa, a nice little third-place finish. So I put Hardaway on top, but what were your thoughts in race 3?
You know, I also have Hardaway on top, Seth. I actually have both Stidhams in here, even the horse coming off a bit of a layoff from Penn National home field, but Hardaway ran a pretty decent third despite a wide trip last time. I didn't like the winner, Malios, but it turns out he ran a bang-up race, Malios did. But Hardaway does get first-time Lasix. I think the outside horse is going to take all the money in here, but he's been tried now, and he was your odds-on favorite last time, Ready and Rich, and Ready and Rich just never really got involved in that race. It was a much tougher field. You had Cave Run, the Godolphin horse, and Fletcher's Ranger up around second. Having said that, Ready and Rich never picked up his feet. Could be the favorite again, and could be a vulnerable favorite at that.
Yeah, and these are the kind that you just kind of like to play against. They've had plenty of opportunities and haven't gotten it done. But as you say, with the buyers, and I think bettors are so keyed into that, including me, they're a tool in my toolbox. But with the buyers, Ready and Rich will take some action again. But certainly a 3-5 last time did not lend confidence to the play, whereas the horse like Hardaway, only a couple of starts, nice improvement in the second start. You have to think there's more upside for a horse like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think the 3-horse might be okay as well. Home field in here. Beaten favorite last time out to a decent enough horse in Start Cashin', but they laid him off a little bit. Comes back at Gelding. It's a Godolphin homebred. The Intimates just all seem to run on the Tampa sandy surface here. So I'm interested to see what home field will do. And sometimes when a trainer has two in, it is the other horse that gets the job done at a decent price.
And I'll toss in, I love Into Mischief with win early type runners. 4th race at Tampa this afternoon. Maiden 16 claimers scheduled on the turf. Race 4 at Tampa at 1 mile. I used Auriga, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, on top here, just because I could have gone in a few different directions, but sometimes in races like this, I'm looking for potent connections. And with Kathleen O'Connell, her numbers are better than some of the other trainers in here of horses that also attracted a little bit of attention for me. So here I went with the connections. You know, I'm kind of being master of the obvious with the 2-1 favorite. Some good numbers as well, including that last effort, the nice 16, the nice second place finish at this 16 level. So I put the number 4 on top. What did you think of the 4th?
Yeah, I think Auriga is going to be a player in here, but this horse has kind of had its chances. They never even gave her a shot in Special Weight Company. They knew she probably wasn't much, and she's been pretty empty in most of her races. That 16 here, Seth, is the bottom and on the turf, and to run her here, and not that she didn't run a good race, she ran a fine race at a pretty decent price, but I didn't like the winner, Malkia, that day. So again, I'm going to take a shot in here. I'm going to try the 7 on top, Journey East for Chad Stewart. Sammy gets the call in here, and Journey East had the inside post last time out at Gulfstream Park West and really never got a chance to do much running in that race. Put itself in a decent spot, but I don't think this horse liked being inside. They tried getting her out late and never really got to running. But for the most part, Chad Stewart horses, whether it be first time out or trying something new, they tend to walk out of the gate, maybe pass a couple and kind of come up a little bit empty. But second time out, and I'm going to call this second time out because it's the second time she's getting on the turf, they do show improvement. So I do think this horse can improve. The horse has been training at Hunter Farm up in Ocala. So Journey East might be a sneak in here. Auriga's going to take the money. The 0 for 18 Reconsider It is going to take some money. So maybe we get a price on a horse like Journey East today.
Yeah, I have to admit, excuse me, as you're talking, I was looking at this one. First 2 starts were at Tampa in January of this year, and then the long layoff. So that was a comeback, not only a comeback, a little class relief, and the move to the turf, and the buyer jumped up to a lifetime best, clearly. And so now we come back second off of that layoff, and I like kind of a confident move back up to the 16 level. So I did not have Journey East in my mix, but I do kind of like the scenario there. And as you mentioned, with Sammy Camacho on board, that's a bonus as well.
Yeah, and he's doing everything right. You know, sometimes you have riders who jump up and say, wow, this rider's really riding, you know, the turf well, or really performing well, you know, in sprint races. But Sammy's doing everything right. So I think he'll have this horse in a good spot. I don't expect much early speed. You never do from a Chad Stewart horse, but I do expect Journey East to put on a show in the stretch.
All right, be interested to see where you're going to go in race number 8. Maiden Special is going a quick 5 on the grass. I don't know if you have early scratches yet. My top 2 picks were the first 2 on the AEs. I like the 12 and the 11. But if those 2 don't make it in, Miss Miz, the number 2 horse, first-time starter for Mike Stidham, attracted a little attention from me. What did you think in race 8?
Yeah, this is kind of a cool race in here. I'm going to go with a couple of bombs. I do like Sally Dangles if she gets in. I don't have the early scratches yet. I actually ran a pretty solid race up in Erie. To a nice one in Puka Penny, who I also believe was the first-time starter that day. But I think there's value everywhere in here, and I'm going to use 2 first-time starters. On top, I like Showboating, the 7-horse in here, Verrazano filly out of a mare who has only thrown monsters. If you look at the horses out of this mare, Miss Mary Patch, you have Shore Runner, who won here, who earned over $360,000 in his career. Red Maserati earned $215,000. Save Rock and Roll won at first asking, and then subsequently graded stakes place. So I don't know the connections too well on Showboating, but I know the mare has only thrown nice horses. So could be any kind of horse at a price. I'm interested in this Temple City Night City. This kid Angel Rodriguez, who brought in 2 bombs at Gulfstream, 60-1 and 80-1, is named on this horse. So I think there's value in the first-time starters, and I think in the late sequences today, in the multis, you should be using some of these firsters, especially at big odds. There could be some sneaks in here. So I'm definitely going to have those 2 on my ticket.
All right. Excuse me. I like the thoughts on Showboating, certainly. 10th race at Tampa this afternoon. Maiden 16 claimers. Again, this one's scheduled for a mile on the grass. What were your thoughts on the 10th?
Well, we're going to get a good read in here on Hoxie. I think from what Journey East does, they come out of, or at least they ran against each other in the same race at Gulfstream Park West. Hoxie, the other Chad Stewart horse, definitely has a big chance to get the job done. The only other horse I'm going to double my tickets coming home with is Over to You, with ABL Ayala up again. Ayala rode at Presque Isle this year. That kid can absolutely ride, and I think you're going to get a good price on Over to You coming home. Hoxie going to be a favorite in here, and if you see Journey East win the 4th race for Chad Stewart, Hoxie can almost be a single coming home to my eye. So get a read on Hoxie based on what Journey East does earlier in the card, and if Journey East doesn't run too well, maybe double your ticket with Over to You.
Very good. And we appreciate the visit this morning, Andrew. We'll certainly check back in as the meet progresses. We also put on the screen under your photo as we were talking, your Twitter account. You Twitter out during the day as well?
Yeah, always do. You can follow me at Shades On Racing.
That's what we have up there, so folks can check that out as well as checking you out during the racing day in the paddock. As I say, Andrew, we appreciate the visit. We'll check in again sometime as the Tampa meet progresses.
All right, always a pleasure, Seth. You take care.
Appreciate it. Andrew Dembski from Tampa Bay Downs. And as the voice is kind of fading here, I will hit you with a couple of shots of news. We talked with John White yesterday, mentioned this. Santa Anita attendance and handle up on opening day. That's obviously good news. I did read there was some giveaways, though. May have been, we're familiar with the concept at Saratoga, some spinners in there. But 41,000 announced compared to 40,000 last year. Handle 20 million. All sources handle 20 million. Last year it was 17. I think there was an extra race this year. 2 years ago, 18. So nice numbers there. Obviously some changes in the air out at Santa Anita with Tim Ritvo really taking an interest there after having kind of shaken things up down at Gulfstream and up at Laurel. Now he's concentrating on Santa Anita, but a nice opening day for them. I also wanted to toss out there that this was kind of interesting. Aaron Merriman was named the driver of the year on the harness side by the Harness Writers Association. He is going to become the first driver to win 1,000 races in consecutive years. And I'm just looking to see what his total is so far. Second highest win total. He's got over 1,000 this year. But I'm just looking. He's at 1,118 after Wednesday's racing. So Aaron Merriman, named the driver of the year on the harness side, 1,100 winners so far in 2018. And again, that was a few days ago. But I pulled up just for comparison's sake. I was interested. And again, this is a day or two old, but I pulled up the jockey leaders. So Aaron Merriman, 1,100 plus winners on the harness side. The leading jockey, Irad Ortiz, 342. So he has about a third the number of winners as the guy on the harness side. It's interesting the differences in the game. There are similarities and there are differences, and that's certainly a difference. A guy who has strung together now 2,000-win seasons, Aaron Harriman, on the harness side of things. All right, I'm going to wrap things up for this edition of Racing Across America. Sit back and rehydrate, because I'll be here about an hour and a half or so for a little shorter burst. So I think the voice will be better with the shorter burst this afternoon on OTB Live. But again, want to remind you, coming up this week, a nice full schedule of fun promos and events coming up in January. But we kick right off January 2nd, Wednesday, $200 Pick 4 contest online. Thursday the 3rd, $100 win-a-bet here at the clubhouse, and also $100 win-a-bet online on Thursday. And the bounty bet returns on Friday. So that's always a lot of fun. We'll certainly alert you to these as we proceed through the week as well. And as always, you can catch up with the promos and events and that schedule at capitalotb.com. All right. I didn't hear. I got it. Oh, right. Football Sunday. Really kind of wrapping up as it is the last day of the 2018 NFL season. And that gives you your last chance to come down and enjoy all the football action and all the racing action as well here at the Clubhouse Racebook. Football Sundays. Been a lot of fun down here. Again, come on down this afternoon. Wear a jersey, you get in for free. Put your name on a square, maybe you'll win a prize. Should be a lot of fun here at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Thanks to our friends at Gulfstream for their sponsorship. Gulfstream Park, champions start here. All right, I'm going to step back. Start hydrating, drinking some water, getting ready for OTB Live. And again, about an hour and a half or so. So we'll look forward to you tuning in then. Appreciate your tuning in this morning for Racing Across America. Enjoy the racing this afternoon. We'll see you in a few.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.